A single stroke of a pen down in Atlanta didn't just make a few daytime headlines. No, it sent an absolute high-stakes financial shockwave directly into the heart of the Indianapolis Colts training camp. Listen, we are looking at a fundamentally altered NFL landscape today. We're talking about a reality where the sheer price of carrying the football just skyrocketed out of nowhere. And the tension in Westfield, it is palpable. You can literally feel it. As players reported for those sweltering, brutal August practices, the overarching narrative wasn't just about X's and O's or installing a new scheme. It was about leverage. It was about contract years. It was about the bruising, often unforgiving reality of the business of football. This single event down south has put one specific franchise under an incredibly intense microscope, dictating everything from top-level offensive strategy all the way down to the gritty, unglamorous battles at the very bottom of the depth chart. In this explainer, we are breaking down the dramatic turning point for the Colts, the intense roster battles brewing right now in Westfield, and the massive ripple effects that are about to dictate the entire upcoming season.
Okay, let's dive into this because this number changes everything. $75 million. That is the new benchmark. Bijan Robinson just secured a historic 3-year contract extension worth up to $75 million instantly, and I mean instantly, crowning him the highest paid running back in the National Football League. Now, to truly understand the gravity of this number, you have to look at recent history, right? Over the last 5 years, NFL front offices have systematically treated running backs as depreciating assets. We watched the entire positional market completely stall out, with the franchise tag just hovering stubbornly around $12 million. We saw cautionary tales, like Le'Veon Bell's infamous holdout that totally derailed his prime. We saw Ezekiel Elliott's rapid decline in efficiency almost immediately after he secured his landmark extension. The league effectively decided collectively that paying running backs was just bad business. So when this $75 million figure dropped, it was a seismic anomaly. On the surface, sure, you could say this is an Atlanta Falcons story, but in reality, this number instantly puts the spotlight squarely onto the Indianapolis Colts. Because sitting right there taking reps in their backfield is Jonathan Taylor, a player entering the final year of a 3-year, $42 million extension, watching his entire positional market get reset in real time.
So how did the man himself react? When informed of the Bijan deal by a reporter during a live media session, Taylor's reaction was chillingly calculated and immediate. He said, and I quote, "I've got to go talk to my agents. I've got to go talk to them and see where things are at." His demeanor was coldly professional. He was completely masking any underlying frustration behind this practiced veteran restraint. He mentioned all the standard things, focusing on getting better, staying in shape, and expressing genuine happiness for Robinson's payday. But make absolutely no mistake, that one sentence about checking in with his agents, that fundamentally shifted the leverage in Indianapolis. This is the official beginning of a high-stakes standoff. Taylor knows exactly what his production means to this franchise, and he knows what the market just dictated. So while he is saying all the right things publicly about focusing on the field and putting the team first, the wheels of a wildly complex financial negotiation are now undeniably turning in the background.
And this brilliantly illustrates the looming clash. Because when Taylor and his agents actually sit down across the table from the Colts front office, the tale of the tape is going to be fascinating. It's a stark contrast in how you define value. On one side of the table, you have Taylor's unquestionable, bruising dominance on the ground. We are talking about superior rushing totals and a significantly higher volume of rushing touchdowns than Robinson over recent campaigns. When he finds a crease in the offensive line, Taylor is an absolute explosive force. But on the other side of this high-stakes financial chess game, the front office is definitely going to point to Robinson's profile. Robinson holds a distinct edge as a versatile receiver out of the backfield, and crucially, this is the big one, he possesses a flawless durability record. He has yet to miss a single game in his career. Taylor, meanwhile, has to battle the lingering memory of those high ankle sprains and missing significant time in previous seasons. The whole availability versus ability debate will absolutely be the central leverage point here. If Taylor can maintain his Iron Man status from last year, the Colts might just find themselves backed into a corner where they have absolutely no choice but to match that $75 million precedent.
But you have to remember, this contract standoff is not happening in a vacuum. It is unfolding against the chaotic backdrop of a radically reshaped Colts roster entering a high-pressure training camp. This franchise hasn't just tweaked around the edges. They have undergone massive, sweeping roster turnover at premium positions. And what makes this camp so incredibly intense is that the coaching staff is not handing out roles based on past reputations or legacy. The environment in Westfield right now, it is a true, brutal meritocracy. Veterans are not guaranteed starting spots whatsoever, and hungry rookies are routinely taking first-team reps during 11-on-11 drills. Every single snap, every single rep carries immense weight as the team attempts to forge a brand new identity on the fly. The underlying tension of a team completely rebuilding its core while simultaneously dealing with a superstar's contract year creates a dynamic that is incredibly volatile.
To truly understand the gravity of this camp, we have to look at the offseason shockwaves that completely rebuilt this team's infrastructure. First, Daniel Jones' step back under center, firmly commanding the starting offense as he recovers from an Achilles tear. This is a critical, undeniable reality because an Achilles injury specifically saps the lower body explosiveness and lateral mobility that made Jones a dual-threat asset in the first place. That fundamentally changes how the offensive line has to protect him. On the defensive side, the Colts executed a blockbuster acquisition for all-pro cornerback Sauce Gardner. Gardner's ability to play elite press man coverage on the outside boundary changes absolutely everything. It allows the defensive coordinator to aggressively stock the box, roll safeties down, and send exotic blitz packages, altering the entire philosophy of the unit. Finally, there's the departure of longtime top receiver Michael Pittman Jr., leaving a gaping, massive void in the passing game. So think about this setup. You have a quarterback currently lacking mobility, a defense entirely restructured onto shutdown corner, and an offense missing its primary target. It is a completely new world in Indy.
And the ripple effects of this rebuild roster ultimately lead right back to the backfield. Running backs coach DeAndre Smith is deploying a highly critical strategy behind the scenes right now. They urgently plan to reduce Jonathan Taylor's heavy usage. History in the NFL proves a severe statistical cliff exists when running backs exceed 300 touches in consecutive seasons. The physical toll simply breaks the human body down. The Colts recognize a brutal truth. If you want your star to be a difference maker in the freezing, high-stakes temperatures of December and January, you cannot grind his body into dust in October. Spreading the carries is absolutely essential to keep him effective and available. But taking the ball out of Taylor's hands means someone else has to be on the field holding it, catching passes, and picking up blitzes. And that strategic shift makes the battle for the RB2 spot one of the most valuable, high-stakes clashes in the entire league right now.
So the crucial point is understanding exactly what it takes to win that RB2 job. Head coach Shane Steichen's demands for this role are completely non-negotiable. To grasp this, you have to look at Steichen's history in Philadelphia working with Jalen Hurts. His RPO-heavy, aggressively spaced offensive philosophy requires running backs who can instantly process highly complex defensive fronts. Yes, you need decisive running, but far more importantly, you need flawless pass protection. You have to execute third down blitz pickups without a fraction of a second of hesitation. Protecting a quarterback like Daniel Jones, who is currently missing that crucial escape mobility due to his Achilles recovery, is the ultimate priority. This is especially true during frantic 2-minute drills and high-leverage third downs. If a backup running back cannot correctly identify a blitzing linebacker, confidently step up into the A-gap, and physically neutralize the threat, they simply will not see the field. I don't care how fast they are in the open field, if they can't block, they won't play.
This intense requirement brings us to a thrilling micro-battle unfolding every single day in practice between Seth McGowan and DJ Giddens. McGowan has generated some serious momentum by showcasing incredible physical traits. He has this explosive burst and a highly decisive running style that absolutely jumps off the practice film. In padded sessions, he looks the part of a pure, dominant runner. But on the other side, Giddens is answering every single challenge with pure technical refinement. Giddens utilizes patient vision, allowing his blocks to develop before attacking the inside lanes. But the ultimate separator? That is happening during the grueling 9-on-7 blitz pickup drills in the intense August heat. Giddens is showing deeply encouraging development in anchoring down and protecting the pocket. McGowan might have the flash and the burst, but if Giddens can consistently keep Daniel Jones upright, he steals the job. For those looking for the ultimate contingency plan in this backfield, this clash dictates one of the highest leverage roles in football.
Let's move to the perimeter and see how this builds, because the ground game isn't the only massive question mark. The departure of Michael Pittman Jr. has created a staggering aerial void. We are talking about nearly 150 vacated targets and nearly 1,000 yards of production completely erased from the offensive ledger. Pittman was a sheer target magnet who dictated defensive coverages and consistently moved the chains on third down. Now, Alec Pierce enters camp as the primary vertical threat, meant to take the top off the defense and stretch the field. And Josh Downs remains one of the most dependable, sure-handed slot receivers in the NFL. But even combined, Pierce and Downs simply cannot absorb that enormous target vacuum alone. They physically can't do it. There is a vast chunk of offensive production that is currently unassigned. Someone has to step up and claim those crucial, punishing intermediate targets, making the battle for the third wide receiver spot incredibly critical to how this new-look offense actually operates.
The three-way war for the WR3 job is a fascinating clash of fundamentally different skill sets. First, you have Ashton Dulin. He currently has the inside track, largely because of his deep familiarity with Steichen's highly specific system. He isn't making mental mistakes, he runs his route trees with crisp discipline, and crucially, the coaches absolutely love his elite willingness to block in the run game. That unselfish blocking is what keeps him on the field in heavy personnel sets. But then, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is making a violent push in padded practices. At 6'2", he brings raw size and punishing physicality. While he might have struggled with separation on the boundary last year, he is a highly dangerous target on contested throws and thrives in tight spaces near the goal line, making him a lethal red zone threat. And then there is the veteran Laquan Treadwell. He doesn't have the sheer explosiveness he once possessed, sure, but he leverages years of hard-fought experience running those shallow crossers and dig routes that extend drives. All three of these men are fighting for a career-defining opportunity to soak up Pittman's vacated workload.
Now you might be wondering, why does dissecting these gritty, bottom-of-the-roster depth chart battles matter so much in the grand scheme? It is all about exploiting inefficiencies in the market and gaining a massive competitive edge. The Colts might not feature the flashiest, most hyped offense in the league right now, but for the focused learner, for the fantasy manager who actually wants to dominate their league, this is exactly where championships are won. Understanding Shane Steichen's coaching scheme allows smart observers to predict breakouts well before the general public catches on. Recognizing these hidden depth chart opportunities before Week 1 is how you find absolute draft bargains, whether it is grabbing Doolin in the late rounds before he inherits a heavy passing workload, or stashing Giddens as the ultimate contingency plan behind a heavily managed Jonathan Taylor. Think about it. If Taylor's workload is reduced or if he holds out during a tense contract year, the player who wins that backup job instantly becomes one of the most valuable assets in the sport.
As we look ahead to the kickoff in Westfield and beyond, we are left to wonder, will these under-the-radar depth pieces, the veteran receivers fighting tooth and nail for targets, the backup running backs mastering the subtle art of blitz pickups, be the ultimate difference makers? Will the Colts' ruthless meritocracy forge a resilient championship-caliber roster? Or will the financial realities of the modern NFL and a looming high-stakes contract standoff tear it apart before the season even truly begins? The ripple effects of this summer are going to dictate the winter. We want to know exactly what you think. Who wins that crucial backup running back job, and what actually happens with Jonathan Taylor's contract? Get down in the comments and let your voice be heard. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this explainer, and support us by becoming a member of NFL Nexus so we can keep bringing you these deep dive cinematic stories all season long. Stay focused, and we will see you on the next one.